Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I so appreciate your being here today, signing up for this webinar to hear about your health and how do you go about developing a healthy lifestyle. So welcome, welcome to all, okay? I know people work different hours, have lots of time challenges, and instead of me just scheduling this a couple times a day for a week, I really wanted to be able to share this with people and for them to be able to see it, for you guys to be able to see it at your leisure. I have a little lemon water in my container here. Just wondering, what beverage are you enjoying while you're watching this webinar? Type that in the chat and then we will get started. In case you didn't know when you signed up, I wanted to make sure you knew. My name is Hinton and I am the health coach, the RN health coach. And just a little bit of housekeeping, things to go over to make this experience as meaningful and as positive for you as I possibly can. If you are willing, please just give me, this is only going to take about 45 minutes of your time, just about 45 minutes of your time. And if you could do that, if you could just listen intently, ask questions, because no matter what time if you put your questions in the chat box, I will see them and get back to you. But if you could just take the time right now to shut off any other communications that you have on, any other browser tabs that you might open. If you could close out Facebook, close out your Instagram, close out your Tinder, and just give me about 45 minutes to go over this presentation, I would greatly appreciate it. And at the end of this presentation, there will be a bonus offer just for you, okay? You might even want to have a paper and pen handy in case I say something insightful and you want to write it down. Just have that available to take a note or two any point in time. It's a good idea. But you can always watch this again too if you like. What I really want to go over, what I am going to go over in our time today is a few pointers that are on the screen. And necessarily any particular order, but we're going to hit these main points, okay? What's holding you back from your healthy lifestyle journey? What's holding you back? I really want you to think about that honestly to yourself, because remember, just us here in the room here. You've closed the door and you've turned off your distractions. I want you to really think about what is holding you back from from attaining your health goals, from getting on a healthy lifestyle journey, okay? Also, I want you to think about, and maybe you haven't, and maybe in some obscure way you have, what has happened to the health and healthcare? What happened to it? Where'd it go? The other thing, where are you getting your information from?
It's
Where
16 hours.
are you getting your information from about keto and whole foods lifestyle or the Mediterranean diet? Remember, I'm a registered nurse, so I'm not a one-trick pony. Your program will be designed particularly for you. But some of the more popular diets out there, the keto diet, which is working great, and a whole food lifestyle, which also works great, as well as the Mediterranean diet, with some of the top 3 lifestyles out there. Where are you getting your information from about these different lifestyles, eating styles, okay, we should say. I don't like saying the words diet because that in turn is something that is short term for most of us, okay? So I want to say lifestyle because you're going to take this on, you're going to own it. And I want to know, we want to get to the crux of the matter, okay? And towards the end here, we're going to talk about what you need to get started today. What do you need to get started today? Who is this presentation for? If you're sick and tired of year after year, month after month, day after day, gaining weight, losing your health, this is for you. If you're seeing your future from other family members, from older family, from younger family members that are having issues with chronic conditions getting worse and worse, if you're seeing your future with them, seeing them going from pre-diabetes to becoming a diabetic on oral medication than a diabetic with injections, or seeing them on more and more high blood pressure medications or whatever, or seeing them gain weight and losing their mobility, losing their ability to stay active like they want to, then this presentation is for you. Or if you're seeing your own health decline, if you notice day to day, month to month, or year, decade after decade, that your own health is declining, this presentation is for you. Age is not necessarily a carte blanche from being able to perform the way you want to perform or have the life and the health that you want, okay? This presentation is for those that are ready to make their health, your own health, a priority in your life each and every day. That's who this presentation is for. Now, if you're like this guy, you got your head stuck in the sand, you just go around eating whatever, not exercising, not really paying much attention to what's going on. If you just think, oh, it's inevitable, it's going to happen this way. If you got your head stuck in the sand, you're not ready to listen, this presentation is not for you. This just isn't for you. This is for those that are really wanting to make a change, okay? This presentation is not for you if you're not interested in getting healthy, if you're not interested in maintaining your health, okay? If you think you don't have the time, that I'm just too busy, you just wait. Disease will also take time away from your life as well as command your attention. And you can ignore it if you want to, but it will take time away from you. If you feel like it's inevitable and you're not going to do anything about it, your mom had it, your dad had it, your sister's a brother, your aunt and uncle, everybody has had diabetes or whatever. You just feel like it's inevitable for you, then this presentation isn't for you. This presentation is for those who feel like they want to take their destiny into their own hands and not leave it up to whatever, okay? And you wonder, who is this person asking all these questions and making all this fuss about this? My name is Elmira Hinton. I am a registered nurse. I have a bachelor's degree in nursing. I have a master's degree in health services administration. I am from a small town in Iowa. Yeah, small. I worked for 35 years with the University of Iowa, so a large institution. And also in the beginning, I worked at Rush University in Chicago. So I've been at some of the more larger institutions in the country. I am a coach and a consultant with big dreams. I'm obsessed with eliminating prediabetes and type 2 diabetes. I love yoga. Now, I'm not perfect at it, but I show up. And I love to help people find their calling with their health and with their healthy lifestyle. Like I said, I'm a registered nurse. I've been one for over 30 years, and I'll elaborate a little bit more for that for you. I am a wife. I've been married for about 35 years. I have 2 children of my own, and now I have 3 growing, very busy grandchildren. I'm an educator as well as a speaker. Now, in the years that I've been a nurse, I've seen a lot of healthcare, obviously. I started out in labor and delivery and women's health. So I did that for about 17 years, coaching women through labor, running prenatal classes, helping women with breastfeeding, just overall in women's health. Did a lot of coaching, mentoring women throughout their pregnancy and for about 6 weeks postpartum. Then later, so I did that for about 17 years, and later on I went to manage specialty clinics for the University of Iowa. They were specialty health clinics, usually to help people take care of chronic disease around the state. Like if you had cardiac issues, pulmonary issues, diabetes, hypertension, dermatology issues, all types. There are about 49 different clinics that I helped to run around the state of Iowa, these specialty clinics. And then my last assignment before I left the university, I ran the dialysis program, which consisted of about 7 units, 7 dialysis units. And that was the most heart-wrenching because about 60% of the patients at that time in that program were type 2 diabetics. And so it just, all my life, all my career, I have been helping patients, supporting patients with prediabetes and type 2 diabetes, as well as other chronic health conditions. And a lot of them were nutrition related and could be controlled with nutrition. And just seeing how these chronic conditions had really debilitated people, they had taken away a lot of their life, taken away a lot of the glory, a lot of the expectations, had squelched some of their future, some of their plans dealing with these chronic conditions. It had taken so much away from them that when I decided to leave and become a health coach, that was something that's very passionate and very close to me. Why? Because diabetes has just become something that people accept. And in our medical communities, and when you see patients and you talk to them, they talk about my diabetes or my aunt's diabetes or my wife's diabetes. They really seem to own the disease. And what I really want to help people to own is their health and their well-being. So, for my time with health coaching. And so let's just get started with that. Are you ready? Type "I'm ready" in the chat box if you want to hear more about the 4 topics that I'm presenting on today. Type in the chat box if you're ready to get started, because I want to share some really enlightening information for you. And I think you're really going to be surprised about some of the things that I have to say. First of all, what happened to the health and healthcare? What in the world happened to it? It has gradually gone away. And really, our number one concern, our number one operation in healthcare in particular is just treating and managing symptoms, okay? You come in with a headache, or you come in with thirst issues, you come in with the itch, you come in with the pain. Really, all we do is manage the health issue. We don't necessarily dive deep and try and find out really what's going on, what is really at the root of the problem. And I think about it because this is time of year that everybody's out trying to get rid of their weeds. And if you just whack it off at the top, if you just take away that symptom of just that weed, that yellow or the one with the white sticking around it, if you just whack it off at the top, it's gone for a little while, but it will grow back. It may even grow back bigger, stronger than ever before, because you really didn't get down to the root. And that's where we've lost the health and healthcare. We don't practice enough prevention, and we don't practice enough with nutrition education, even for ourselves or as well as our patients. Our physicians, through the 4 years of med school and anywhere from 2 to 6 years of residency, only get between about 11 and 20 hours of nutrition education. For nurses, it may be a couple of classes while you're in nursing school. Everything else that you learn about nutrition, you really learn on the job or going for some additional education with the dietitians. So a lot of the times when patients come in and they have issues with their nutrition, we'll turn them over, the physician or even the nurse will turn them over to the dietitian. And unfortunately, the dietitian gets educated in schools all about dietary health and different foods. But their continuing education, their education about research and some of the new things that are developing, comes from the food and beverage industry, okay? A lot of it comes from the food and beverage industry. They support it, they'll invite them to it. So the education, the ongoing education that they get, the studies that they're taught about, a lot of times will not exactly show the full picture about what's going on, because they're supported by the food and beverage industry. And so in our time together, we'll continue to talk about some of the influences that have taken place. That's why we're not so healthy, and why a lot of this really isn't your fault, okay? Where are you getting your information from? Yeah, where have you been hearing stuff? A lot of times, and these days with so much social media around, we're looking to that for a lot of our information. But how do we know about the accuracy of that information? Even if you get your information from a publication like a book or a magazine, and you have questions, where are you getting your questions answered? You work with the group. You might join a couple or 5 or 10 Facebook groups, and you ask a question. Where do you get started? What do you do about something? And you can get anywhere from 2 to 200 answers. I've been in those groups and I see that all the time. How do you know who to trust? How do you know who's giving you the most accurate information, particularly for your body type? Because a lot of times the information is very general. Even with some of the gurus that I've seen, some of the more popular ones, they have a lot of space on YouTube and they have big Facebook followings. Their information can be spot on, but you can't get your questions answered. So that plan, that information that they give, may not necessarily be specific to you and your situation. So I ask you, where do you get your information from? And then when you get that information, how do you know it's accurate? And how do you know it fits your situation, okay? And that's huge. That's huge. There are a lot of great programs around, but some of the gurus are so big, even when they come on live, they can't answer everybody's question. They have thousands of people on, everybody's trying to talk at the same time, and you don't get your questions answered. And that can be very frustrating and really problematic. And a lot of times in these Facebook groups, I get a lot of great recipes. That's what happens, as I get a lot of great recipes. But you can find recipes anywhere. And again, have the recipes really been broken down? Have the nutritional value in the recipes, has it really been broken down? Do you know that's the right recipe for you? Okay. So there's a lot of questions that still need to be answered. And the really deep question that I asked you to think about at the beginning of this presentation was, what's holding you back? What really is holding you back from taking the steps to that healthy lifestyle? What's holding you back? Why has it been something that's been optional? Why is your health? Why has it been optional? You cannot pour from an empty cup. Okay, you say, I get to take care of my family. They come first. Remember, when you're on a plane, they always have you put your oxygen mask on first before you can help someone else. You can't pour from an empty cup. You've got to make sure that your health is on target, that it's on point. And then you can support your family. You can support your community. You can support your friends. You can support yourself. You've got to make sure that your health is in check. I've talked to a lot of patients and I ask, why did you take so long coming in? What happened? What delayed your returning so much? And always, they were so busy or they didn't think it was that important. And this is your health. This can take a real toll on you when you don't pay attention to your health. If you don't pay attention to your health, you're definitely going to pay attention to your disease. It's going to command your attention. With the ache or a pain or a high blood sugar, it's going to wind up commanding your attention. It's going to wind up debilitating you. And we don't want that to happen. But just imagine for a moment what it would feel like to attain your health goal, to lose the weight that you wanted to lose, to not be on so much medication, to feel great, to not feel tired, to feel energetic, to know that you had taken control of a chronic health condition that is not going to whittle any more away at your life. Just imagine waking up in the morning and thinking, I feel great. I can put on whatever I want to put on. I can go for a walk if I want to. I can go for a hike if I want to. Just take a minute and imagine what that could look like for you, okay? Will you wear that dress that you've always wanted to wear? The cute, tight, black, sexy one? Will you finally get into that bathing suit that you've always wanted to wear and not feel self-conscious when you're at a park, at a water park, or on a beach or something like that? Will you go out and play with your kids, or in my case, play with your grandkids? Will you have the energy to do that? You won't be so debilitated. You can get up and move around. Will you go for that walk in the park? Will you go to that flea market that you've not gone to because it wasn't accessible for you? Will you do some of those things when you are at the weight that you want to be and you're at the health that you want to have? Will you do some of those things? Just think about it. Imagine how great that's going to feel. And imagine what your family and friends are going to say. Things like, you look amazing. How did you do it? How did you lose all that weight? How did you get rid of all those medications? You're not a diabetic anymore? Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. People say, I haven't seen you look this good in years. You haven't had this much energy in a long time. That's what people are going to be saying about you. Imagine all of that. So why is it, what reasons, what buts, remember, what big buts do you have in your repertoire that is saying you can't commit? Are you saying, I would do it, but I got to wait till the kids get back in school, but I got to wait until the kids get out of school, I got to wait until this project is done at work, I just don't have the time. It's too hard. It's too difficult. I don't want to think about it. There's too many things going on right now. I got too many plans. I got a party. I got this. Or the big one, I just don't have the money to eat healthy or to hire a coach to work with me. I just don't have the money. If you're going to work from your current circumstance, if you're going to be that way for your future, if you're going to stand just there, that's where you're going to find yourself in the future, standing in the same place. If you work from your current context, if you work from your current situation, then nothing's going to change. You've got to make some kind of change in order for your future to change, to have a different future, to have a better future. The worst thing that can happen is that in 90 days, you're in the same place or you're in the worst situation because you wouldn't commit. You wouldn't take that first step towards your healthy lifestyle. You let other things get in the way of you being as healthy as you could possibly be. So just take a moment and think about it. The future for you. What do you need to get started? What do you need to get started today on a healthy lifestyle? It doesn't necessarily have to be this huge, big, humongous change. It's going to be change over time. But what do you really need to get started? I'd like to share with you a few things that I feel that you need to get started. Is that okay? Could you put in the chat box for me? Yeah, Lynn, tell me what you think I need to get started. Now, this is in general. But remember, the plan will actually be specified, will actually be designed, just designed for you and your lifestyle as well as your body type. But what do you need to really get started? First of all, you got to get your family on board. If you've ever followed me on Facebook or seen any of my lives, I did one and it was intense because I hear a lot of excuses from women as well as men is that, oh, I can't get my spouse on board. Oh, they're going to keep eating the same way and I got to make 2 different meals. Oh, my kids won't join me on this. This is crazy. Why not? This is a healthy lifestyle to eat. Whether it's keto or whole food lifestyle, nobody needs tons of sugar and refined carbohydrates. No one. That doesn't support anyone's good health. First of all, you've got to get your family on board or whoever you're living with in your household and you're doing the cooking for other people or whatever. You've got to get your family on board. Everyone needs to understand that this is your life that's on the line here and you want a better life, not just for yourself, but for your entire family. Okay. So that means also that gets back to not only family support, but you also need the support of someone who understands what's going on with you. You need that type of support to get through it, to understand the various obstacles that are going on, okay? You also need accountability, okay? When you make the decision to do something like this, to really make a change in your lifestyle, to commit to making a real change in your lifestyle, you're going to need somebody that's going to hold your feet to the fire and hold you accountable to what's going on, okay? I'm not talking about whip and painstakingly accountable, but you need accountability. You need to say, this is what I'm going to do. And then the next time we talk, I want to know what you did. We'll make out a plan and I want to know how you achieved those goals. It'll be so important. So I want to finish up. And if you have questions, please put them in the chat box. We'll answer them. We will answer them. Put them in the chat box for me. But I want you to understand that there is a program out there to help you. I wish I had known about something like this many years ago because I think it would have really helped me also to have a coach, to have someone that would help me commit once I make the decision to commit with my time and with my resources, someone to hold me accountable and someone to give me the real information that was really going to support me for the long haul, and to have the tools and the education and the knowledge to be able to keep things going for the long run. That's part of the problem. All diets work. Low fat diets work, low carb diets work, high carb diets, all diets work. They all work. As you well know, if you've been just like me, up and down, doing different diets, they all work. But all diets don't work also. They don't work for the long haul. They might get you through the first couple of weeks. They even might get you through the first 30 days. But then you start having issues. You drop off. Your commitment is lost. Or you have questions and you can't get your questions answered. All diets work, but not all but no diet, they also fail miserably also. Some of the problems and complications with some of the diets is that we've been fed so much misinformation. We've been told eat low fat. Scientifically, it's been proven over and over again that is not a sustainable lifestyle. That low fat it's not good for you. It's not healthy. What I like to recommend and support people with is getting healthy. That is my main number one goal when I work with anyone is getting healthy. That makes your weight loss so much easier once your body is in tune. All your hormones, your cortisol, your insulin, your thyroid, once all those hormones are working the way they should be, and you're eating, you have the nutritional information that you need, and you know what you need, nutrition dense foods. You know what to eat. You start eating for your health. You will feel amazing. You'll feel so much better. We've been told by the beverage industry, okay, so everybody knows you don't drink sugary drinks anymore, okay? And then they came out with diet sodas. People got even fatter. When diet sodas came out, they did a study years later and found out people were getting even fatter. Diet sodas didn't work. When low-fat diets came out, they found out that didn't work because it wasn't healthy. It wasn't getting people healthy. They were stripping the fat out of the food, so you were hungry all the time, and that's what our bodies need. We need fat. Every cell in our body needs fat. It helps us sustain not being hungry. It helps us sustain satiety. So we need fat, and you don't get fat from eating fat. You get fat from having too much glucose. I'll give you a quick explanation about how insulin works. Insulin is a hormone. It is a hormone. It is a powerful hormone, okay? When you eat, you stimulate insulin. The pancreas makes insulin because it's got to come out. The body's always trying to stay in balance. It has to come out and process that sugar or that food, that carbohydrate that you've eaten, okay? And the body's priority is to get that sugar or that carbohydrate and even proteins to get it to the energy that it needs. So if you're up doing things, then it says, okay, it fuels the fire. It gives you that energy to eat. And so whatever's left over, which a lot of times there's a lot of calories or sugar left over, then it starts to store it. It'll try and store it in the muscles, then it'll store some in the liver. Then it's still got, your blood sugar still not back there. It says, okay, I still got more glucose. Insulin says, what am I going to do with this? Then it starts turning it to fat, okay? First of all, when you eat something, it tries to use that energy. If you're up moving around while it's digesting, you'll use that energy first, okay? Then the body says, okay, we don't need any more energy. Now we got to start storing it. And it'll store it as glucose. It'll get turned to glycogen, and it'll be stored some in your muscles and a fair bit in your liver. Then after all those stores are full, the next thing it does is store it as fat, okay? So that's why it takes time to peel back those layers. When you say, now I want to get rid of all this extra energy, you got to get your body into a deficit. And I'm not talking about calories. Calorie counting is something else that is proven not to work. A 21-year-old and someone my age are going to burn calories differently. So counting calories really does not work, okay? Because we're not machines. And now if you all had the same car and we all went the same distance and the gasoline, then you're going to expect to be a certain amount of energy to be burned. But we're not machines. Different things influence how we burn energy. So calorie counting, it doesn't work. So the reason you've not been able to get the weight off, one, is because the food industry has been fooling us for a long time. There was this mass that wanted to try and feed as many people as possible. So they started taking the wheat and stripping the fat out of the wheat because that's the way it has a longer shelf life. When they take the fat, wheat, when it's actually grown, has a certain amount of fat in it and it has a certain amount of fiber in it. But they strip all of that out of there in order to make this fine powder called flour. You remember it talks about it's unbleached and it's really refined because all the fat and all the fiber has been taken out. That's what it would have slowed its digestion and getting into our system and calling on glucose. So we've been fooled so much by the food industry. And then when they made low fat stuff, They stripped the fat out again and they replaced it with carbohydrates. So everything is working against us. Then our activity levels have changed, and your stress has changed, and all of that influences how you burn energy. So it's not the same for everybody. So that's why programs are not a one fit kind of thing. You can't just say, I'm going to do this particular lifestyle and see if it's going to work for you. Your program needs to be tailored for you, your body type, and your lifestyle, okay? So when I talk about a comprehensive program, is what's up on the screen now. When you talk about a comprehensive program, I talk about getting started with keto or whole foods lifestyle. Or let's just say you wanted to try a Mediterranean diet. Any of them will work. But you got to know how to work them, and you got to know how to stick to them, and you got to know how to refine them for your body type and your lifestyle, okay, and your goals, okay? You're going to learn how to eat clean and what that's all about, okay? Learn what different foods are the most nutritious, dense, highest density foods for you. Getting tongue-tied. Okay, you're going to learn to eat clean. So you're going to learn how to cut processed foods out of your life and replace them with whole, healthy foods, whichever way you go, whichever food lifestyle you pick, keto, Mediterranean, or whole foods. You got to understand what ingredients are, okay? You're going to need some help overcoming obstacles. You're like, okay, I got a party to go to. What do I do? I got this coming on in my life. What do? You hit a plateau. What do? You're going to get support with overcoming obstacles. And the big thing, and this is number one, I'm going to help you get your mind in the game of this healthy lifestyle. You're going to get your mind in the game. You're going to understand what it's like to be a healthy person, to do the behaviors that a healthy person would do in order to have a healthy lifestyle. That's what's so important. What people usually do that they don't go do have. They usually go, I gotta have this first, then I'll do these other things, and then I'll be a healthy person. What I'm going to help you to do is get your mind in the game of being healthy, okay? So we're going to learn some techniques about how to get your mind in the game of a healthy lifestyle. So it's just not nutrition. It's about getting your head in the game too, so that it's a well-rounded experience for you. And we're going to talk about when to add in exercise. Some people think I'm going to go out and I'm going to run 10 miles and I'm going to lose all this weight. Sometimes your body fights against that. And so we're going to talk about when the best time for you to add in exercise. If you're not already active, we're going to talk about when the best time is for you to add in exercise and what type of exercise, okay? Suggestions that will work in your lifestyle. Again, we're going to talk about identity. You need to change your identity. Yep. Right now, you have the identity of a not doer. You have the identity of, I am a diabetic, I'm going to get sick, that kind of thing. You're going to learn to identify with a healthy person, okay? So you're going to be a healthy person, and you're going to learn to incorporate the habits. And I talk about habits a lot because 95% of what we do all day long is out of habit. First thing in the morning when you get up, when that alarm goes off and you go to the bathroom, you brush your teeth and you wash your face, you don't think about those things each and every. Put toothpaste on the toothbrush, run it on the water, put it, scrub it. You don't think about it. It's a habit. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to establish new habits for you. So being healthy just becomes second nature for you. Effortless, okay? And that's from putting good habits in place. And then once we get rid of the old habits, you don't want to challenge them because they are really ingrained. If you've been doing these things, these bad habits for a long time, that's not a hole that you want to step back into once you get out. So you don't ever want to challenge yourself and go, oh no, I don't do that anymore, and then try it, and then you fall back in, and it's really hard to get back out again. So it's just like that wear pattern in your carpet where it's worn and then you turn it or something and you get to a different pattern. But that wear pattern is always going to be there. And you don't want to step back into it once you establish these new behaviors. You don't want to challenge it because it's so easy to fall back into it because it was so comfortable for you for such a long time that when we get these new habits established, we really got to get them ingrained and get them ingrained deeply. And that takes time, it takes consistency, and it takes persistence. Okay. We're going to talk about what foods really nourishes your body. Of course, you're going to get nutrition information. You're going to learn to understand different aspects about food. And even on a budget, how you can eat as healthy as you possibly can. Okay. The big thing about this, and we're going to talk about commitment. We're going to talk about commitment. We're going to talk about commitment in your various relationships, your commitment to your kids, your commitment to your job. We're going to talk about commitment, and because it relates to yourself. Okay, we're going to talk about how you establish commitment and how that has helped or not helped you in the past. We're going to talk about relationships also. This all ties in with eating, particularly with emotional eating. This all ties in together. And the big thing, we're going to talk about integrity. You say, I'm an integral person, Omar. What are you talking about? Yeah, you might keep your promises to other people, but do you keep your promises to yourself? That's really being an integral. If you tell yourself, I'm going to go to the gym 3 days a week, and for whatever reason you let that lapse, your subconscious mind starts to think, when I make commitments and promises to myself, I don't necessarily have to keep them, right? Because that's what you're saying to yourself. So we're going to talk about integrity in a whole different way, not just external integrity. We're going to talk about internal integrity and how important that is, that you keep your promises to you. You get that? Is this making sense to you? I hope that I have delivered some information to you that is new. I've given you something to think about. Put it in the chat box if you think, yeah, Lynn, you gave me something to think about, something that was new to you. Could you put one thing in the chat box that you hadn't thought about before? Just put one thing in the chat box that you hadn't thought about before, okay? I appreciate that. Now, when we decide, or if we decide to work together, your questions will get answered, okay? This isn't some big thing. Whenever our time together is, whether it's once a week or once a month, your questions will get answered. That's what it's like. When you decide to work with a coach, when you're going to make up, anytime you're going to do something major, if you're going to build a house, don't you go get a contractor, somebody that knows about building houses, okay? Because you don't want to make huge mistakes or have these take lots of time getting to really what you want. You typically, think about high performing athletes. They all have coaches. They have coaches that help them get to that next level, okay? Your questions will get answered. Whatever time that we have together, however we decide the frequency of that, whether it's once a week, twice every other week, or once a month, your questions will get answered. And if you have questions right now, put them in the chat box. And if you're looking at this as a replay, I'll get an email with your questions and I'll get back to you. In addition to that, I would invite you to join me on any of my Facebook Lives, typically on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as well as Thursdays, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I go on my Facebook page, the RN Health Coach. I go on live, and that is a particular Q&A. Sometimes I do a little teaching, I'll do a little bit of education, tell you a little bit of something, and then I start taking questions. If you need to, you feel like you want to get to know me a little bit better, I invite you to come over to the RN Health Coach. That's what it is, the RN Health Coach page, and join me on some of those lives. And if you think, want to get a little bit more information, I also have a Facebook group called Keto or Whole Foods Lifestyle. That is on the RN Health Coach page. That's one of the groups that the RN Health Coach page supports. Join my group. I'll send you an invitation. If you've signed up for this webinar, I'll also send you an invitation to join that group. And that way we chat in there. I don't do a lot of coaching in there because my paying coaching clients wouldn't really appreciate me getting in there. But we do talk about different things. We do share new things that we found out in the group. So there is a lot of sharing in the group. And that may be a good spot for you to start out with me. But at this time, I told you how one way you can contact me. You can go to Facebook to the RN Health Coach page, and you can contact me there. You can also, on this slide, you can click, and there'll probably be in a link in the description also, that's an application to my calendar in case you are interested in going a bit deeper, finding out a bit more about this possibility of getting into a healthy lifestyle. Okay, you can click the link in the description or on this page to get to the application. I have an application because I want to get a little bit of information about you so that when you get to my calendar and you pick a day and time that we can meet and talk, I have some information that's very helpful for me. Now, I can't work with everybody. I really can't. So that's help. The application helps with that also. And you have to remember, this is a DIY project. This is a do-it-yourself project. I will be there to support you. I will be there to help hold you accountable. I'll be there to get you information that you need. But the work is going to be up to you. This is still going to be your life, your health, okay? And I definitely encourage you to make sure that you have a conversation with your healthcare provider before starting any lifestyle change, okay? Everything that I suggest to you, even throughout this presentation, is a suggestion. It is up. I don't know you. I don't know you, so it's up to you to decide whether or not various changes are supportive of a healthy lifestyle for you. Very important for you to make that decision, okay? So if you decide to fill out the application, which I definitely encourage you to do, you'll get on my calendar, and please be on time. Please be ready to talk. And just like I said at the beginning of this webinar, get rid of all distractions because I want to have a conversation with you. I will totally support you on this call. We'll totally support you on this call about your healthy lifestyle. Okay, it'll be about 30 or 40 minutes because I want to see where you're at, ask you some questions, see what your goals are. We'll talk. And there is no fee for this consultation. Normally, I charge about $250 to have a consultation like this, but I'm going to totally support you on this call. We're going to have a conversation. And then in the end, if you and I both, if I see that you're coachable, that you're really ready, and you say, yeah, I'm really ready to commit with my time and resources, that I'm not going to let anything hold me back from getting healthy, from being the full person that I can be, then we'll make that decision at the end of that call. Okay? So click the link in the description, or it might be down in the panel there for you to click, and we'll get in touch. You'll get on my calendar. I'll probably also send it to you in an email in case you have any difficulty in getting it there. If you want to, if you think about it or you lose it, I am going to send it to you also in an email. Okay? So questions, please be sure and put your questions in the question box. I will see them, particularly if you're looking at this as a replay. I recorded this live, but I know a lot of people are busy. I know that things come up, and I wanted to be able to bring you this information in a timely manner. And I just didn't want it to get lost and say, if I made it at 4 o'clock on a Tuesday or 8 o'clock on a Thursday, oh, you can't get to there for one reason or another. I wanted you to be able to listen to this presentation at your own, at your leisure, at the time that works best for you. Okay? So I want to thank you so very much for taking this time out to listen to me. And I really hope that very soon that you and I will be on a call together, and I can totally support you and have a conversation with you about your health goals. Okay? Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day and stay healthy. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.